Hiya, it's Chrissy here from the Healing Accord, and I've been guided to share with you a little program I put together. The presence of being, spiritual well-being. Currently, I'm recording this from home, in the comfort of my own home, so bear with me. I'm a medium, a Reiki master, energy worker. I've gone from Reiki further back to shamanism or shamanism. And my guides call me Shamini or Shamini. I don't know how they're pronouncing it. I can't hear them in that way. Pendulum reader, tarot and oracle reader, intuitive reader. And my path to this today is a vast difference to the life I had before I became fully awake, before I became fully present and having presence of being. So what we're going to go through in this is a little thing I've put together. Everything I've been doing over the last 3 years has been guided. And it's just brought amazing things. And this is one of them. The guides, sorry, my guides are interrupting me already. The knowledge within, the projects inspired to create, were meant to be spoken to the whole, to the masses, to be a speaker. Okay, thank you. So I was meant to speak to people, apparently, on things like this, the presence of being, the importance of the breath, energy work, stuff like that. But I'm a very quite a private individual, so it's a challenge for me. I like to be behind the scenes of everything, not up front and centre, and that's where I'm being pushed towards to go. With great resistance from me. But anyway, here we go. So the presence of being, what is meant by presence of being, how energy relates to our sense of being and wellness, my own experience of awakening to the power we hold within, how to have presence of being, exploring the mind, body, spirit connection, importance of balance and the breath, living consciously and being present. Presence of being. Presence of being is about being present, showing up and being consciously involved in the moment. A deliberate act of consciousness where you have complete connection with whatever you are doing at the moment. How many times have you sat in conversation with someone and your mind wanders off thinking about something else? How many times have you sat with your child listening to them read, but your mind is on what to make for dinner? How many people in relationships do you know who are like ships that pass in the night? Working to keep a family, but spending very little family time together in a conscious, present way. I think we can all relate. This is not congruent with being consciously present in the moment. You are distracted by the thoughts of the things you have to do or could be doing. You're not fully there in the present moment. That moment where connection is required of you by another. And believe me, that other feels your disconnect or your lack of connection in that moment. Not only are we disconnected with others, we are disconnected with our own sense of being, sense of presence, and innate ability to heal. I get it. Life is a habit of taking over by the mundane, or should I say, the things we have to do in order to survive, in order to live, pay rent, buy food, pay bills. All of this takes over. But does it have to? How energy relates to our wellness and well-being. We are all energetic beings having a physical experience, and our energy is at the heart of everything. How we choose to utilize that energy sets the standards for our being. Everything in life is a vibration. Albert Einstein. These atoms are in a constant state of motion, and depending on the speed of these atoms, things appear as a solid, liquid, or gas. Sound is also a vibration, and so are thoughts. And if you just think at the moment, we're in 2023 and Elon Musk has just been approved by the FDA to start human trials on putting this implanting a chip into the brain, where the thoughts of that individual will transmit to this chip that can control things outside of this body. So control a laptop, control a phone, control. So imagine if the power of your thought in your brain can send that command to a laptop or to a phone, what can your brain already send and command your body to do? Think about that one. You are a living energy field. Your body is composed of energy producing particles, each of which is in constant motion. So like everything and everyone else in the universe, you are vibrating and creating energy. We can use that energy with our thoughts and intentions to bring about healing in mind, body, and spirit. And like I said, the brain can send thoughts to a microchip that can control something on the outside of the body. What can your brain do to the inside of your body to affect healing? Many schools of energy healing exist using many names. For example, biofield energy healing, spiritual healing, contact healing, distant healing, therapeutic touch, Reiki or Qigong. Never know how to say it. A quote taken from the cancer.gov website on energy therapy, a form of complementary and alternative medicine based on the belief that a vital energy flows through the human body. The goal of energy healing is to balance the energy flow in the patient. It is used to reduce stress and anxiety and promote well-being. Energy healing is being studied in patients receiving cancer therapy to find out if it can improve quality of life, boost the immune system, or reduce side effects, also called energy therapy. And we go back to the Elon Musk experiments that they've been doing with monkeys for a long time, chimpanzees, whatever it is that they're doing. And this primate is being able to play a computer game just with its thoughts. So if a monkey can do that, play a computer game just with its thoughts via this chip in its head, like an antenna, you might say, what can your brain already, your thoughts in your brain already be telling your body to affect change, to affect healing? Why is it important to connect mind and body? Physical health and emotional health are intimately intertwined in what's known as the mind-body connection. Our chemistry and biology impact our mood and emotions, as well as thoughts and beliefs. With all of these factors combined, they play a major role in influencing our stress and physical health. We often look for outside help, when all along we have the tools inside us to help ourselves, not only on a physical level, but on an emotional and spiritual level too. Looking inside, forgiving and letting go of energy draining past trauma, and focusing on the power of your mind and body can bring about healing in unimaginable ways. I chose to follow the Reiki method of energy work and healing, and this opened the door to a new and wonderful way of life. I self-healed almost overnight from a 10-year, I'm going to say it was more like 13-year, debilitating illness, and my world has become more blessed with every new awakening. And I'm so grateful to be receiving that from the universe. We'll get to my story later. My personal experience. my experience in discovering the power of energy and gaining presence of being. So back in 2020, as we all know, we were hit by a pandemic. And up until that point, I had I try to be careful with my words now. I was going to say suffered from. I endured an illness spreading back to 2010 that they labelled chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And I've lost count of all the symptoms I experienced, and everything that came along I caught and made me ill. Before I became ill with these symptoms, I was working for British Airways in the customer relations department, customer focused role, dealing with complaints, claims, things like that, correspondence. Before that, I worked for the Evening Chronicle and Journal, for the Trinity Mirror Group in the advertising department, and for the Metro newspaper. Before that, I spent a lot of years training and doing odd jobs where it wasn't a career. I maybe was there for a year or so, food courts, a cleaner, voluntary work in care settings for the elderly, nurseries and things for the children, a lot of different things. I had 2 children I was bringing up from the age of my youngest being 6. She's now 34. I did it on my own. I had quite a busy social life, quite an active social life. By the time my youngest left home in 2009, I was settled in a lovely flat in the city centre of Newcastle. Then everything went downhill. I got the news that my nana died, the closest person I used to be to, which devastated me, and I never recovered really from that. And it just got worse and worse, and I fought to get back to work, And at the end, my business manager in the attendance room actually visited me and said, "Look, I don't think you realise how serious your illness is." My team leader had seen a documentary with Piers Morgan and Barbara Windsor, who'd also had this chronic fatigue. So I stopped fighting it and went with it. But during that course of being ill, one of the psychologists I had to see was, because I went through a lot of processes and learned about pacing and everything, but she said literally after hearing my history that I'd been living on nervous energy all my life, and that was to do with childhood trauma. And that at this point, when my youngest child had left home and I had nobody else dependent on me, my body just went, right, enough. But I was also thrown into the menopause. So on top of all these other things, I was going through the menopause, which was, everything together was just horrific. And all the medications I was prescribed by doctors just made me worse. I had to cut out foods that I could no longer tolerate. Alcohol I couldn't tolerate. Anything with sugars in or sport in me, anything like that, sent my body into spasmodic pains. I was forced into work again, went to work for Sky, and it lasted 3 months. And that sent me to the biggest crash I'd ever had. I still to this day cannot live to a set routine, a set getting up, a set my energy levels are so up and down. And a lot of it is to do with the give and take of the energies too. But the fibromyalgia, the pain, no. I held it a lot in my jaw and a lot in my hips. And when I've learned about energy and past and holding trauma and carrying it with us, I think it makes a lot of sense too. In 2020, I was hit with the original COVID. I had just moved into the city centre in that flat in the January. By the end of February, a lot of workmen had been in and out of the property, changing the central heating system, doing different repairs. The Chinese people that lived in the corridor were backwards and forwards in the corridor. They had a lot of visitors from abroad for the Chinese New Year. Anyway, back end of February, beginning of March, I was feeling really ill. Tired, I would say. For a whole week, I was feeling tired first, really, really tired. And I just thought it was the fatigue of everything moving. It finally caught up with us because you do get payback, and literally slept for nearly a week. Like, I slept more than when I was awake. I had no energy. When I was awake, I couldn't do anything. I was just no energy. Then a cough came. I'd gone to get some supplies on the Friday. I remember ringing my father and I'm saying, yeah, I need to go back to bed. I just still don't feel too grand. Went to bed. Woke up with a cough. On the Saturday, the cough was getting worse. By the Sunday, late afternoon, early evening, I couldn't breathe. The breathing was starting to get hard. By the Sunday evening, I couldn't speak and breathe. And both my daughters were on the phone saying, you need to go to the hospital. And I was scared to go to the hospital because I'm like, I'm going to die if I go to the hospital. That was my thought. If I go to the hospital, I'm going to die. Anyway, nobody was allowed out. I'm on my own in city centre. I contacted all the places that were apparently set up to help us. Nobody would. Nobody did, unless you were paying for it. By the day, clearly I didn't have any money by the day. I'm stuck in the house. I was on income support allowance at that time. So that's like a fortnightly payment. We're top in the middle of everything, no immediate cash. And I wasn't going to be paying £4 a day for one meal that I may or may not eat and would have to move for to collect from the door after they'd left it on the floor. And I didn't know where it was coming from. Anyway, my eldest daughter was driving down. She'd leave food and stuff outside the door in a carry bag, like cling filmed and whatever in a bag. When she'd gone, I'd go out and pick it up. And that was so hard. It was so hard. A friend who worked in the hospital canteen, she brought me a couple of meals at a time that I could put away. Fantastic help. I just got worse and worse and worse to the point it was pointless them coming because I couldn't eat. I couldn't get up. So during that time, I've lost a whole week. I can't place a week. And I know I couldn't lie down, so I was propped up on like a futon thing in the sitting room with the TV facing at the time. Just constant BBC news, I think I had on. Water, a lot of water. I couldn't use the bathroom because it was invaded by silverfish and probably people wouldn't or couldn't come out. Stuck, literally stuck. And then it got to the point I remember this day, and I'm standing by the big sash windows, and I just thought this was going to be the last breath. It was getting so difficult. Every day I was trying to drag myself around to keep the body moving for the circulation. And when I'm saying dragging myself around, I'm literally meaning dragging myself around on the floor just to move circulation, not to be still. I looked up lung exercises on YouTube and I started doing the breathing exercises. But it was so bad, I just did not think it was doing anything. So this day I'm standing by the window and I'm like, right, if this is it, if it's my time, and I didn't want to contact my kids, I didn't want them to be scared for me or anything. They know my feelings. But I just thought, if this is it, I need to go. I need to kind of say to myself what I need to say before I go. So I started loving myself, appreciating my body, appreciating my womb for giving me my children, and then therefore my grandchildren, appreciating everything about me, getting me to where I was to that point, forgiving everybody with love, which I thought was going to be the hardest thing in my life. But it felt like a weight. was being lifted off with every time I said forgiveness for something. And then I asked forgiveness. I asked for forgiveness from anyone that I'd hurt intentionally or unintentionally by any words or deeds I may have done. And I shit you not, people, I think it was that night, after that happened, I can remember standing in the living room with my arms like wide open, a big smile on my face, feeling warm everywhere, feeling as if I was in kind of a spotlight, and feeling the biggest relief I've ever had in my life. Feeling the most love I've ever felt in my life, the most warmth I've ever felt in my life. And I was ready at that moment, I think, because I thought, that's it, I've done everything I need to do. And I remember saying to myself, is that all it took? Loving myself, seeing my forgiveness and things. Anyway, the purging began. And that's the only way I can describe it. And it was like projectile fluid from my mouth, it was like clear water, apart from two small, dark, greyish brown lumps, phlegmy lumps. Everything else was water that came out of there. The human waste was like the biggest coiled cobra, one continuous cobra. I've seen nothing like it in my life. Nothing like it. It was like everything had purged from my body. And the next day I remember, I can't even remember getting to bed like that night, so I don't know what happened. But the next day I remember waking up, ringing my daughter and saying something's changed. Something's changed, I feel different. I'm not going to say I'm cured, but something's happened. Something has changed. The 4th of April was the first day I got out of my house. I felt strong enough to go out. But during that time, the different visions I'd been getting, the different impressions, inspiration, change of thoughts, was just, I can't believe it. But that year, my youngest daughter bought me a pendulum for Christmas. And I started using that pendulum, I swear to God. I've learned so much. And when I've gone in, they got me a DNA test as well, which I requested simply because of the messages I've been getting from these pendulums. So I got that in 2021. It came in 2022, in the March, I think it was, March 15th. And I was shocked to see that some of the areas mentioned that I would never have dreamed of being part of me was in fact mentioned by my guides, who I now know are my guides, to where they were from, and where they originated and where I originated, and how we are connected. And it was just, I still find it amazing, and I'm still going through it. I mean, we're going back to the earliest and the oldest African tribes and things, and I'm like a lily white, I mean milk bottle white, Northeast UK, born and bred, blue-eyed, jet black curly hair actually when I was born. But it's all making sense. Egypt, the Africa and Ethiopia, Siberia, the Balkans. My chromosomes are made up mostly of Balkan. I have more Balkan and Hispanic Jew in my chromosomes than anything else. And in one of the chromosomes, British was the most unique. But in modern day, on just your DNA level, I'm 98% Irish Britain, Celtic Britain. But anyway, all this guided me to breath work, to Reiki. So I practiced and studied Reiki. Got my level 1 through Ricky Matheson, who's on Facebook as well. He's got a Facebook group, which was a very good course. And then I progressed and progressed literally quicker than the norm, I would say, to now being a master level Reiki practitioner. But then that took me further, because every time I was trying to practice with symbols, the Reiki symbols, the symbols I was seeing given to me were different. So I started drawing them down, and they became those 7 symbols. But then I was told these were my symbols. And these symbols were representations of the healers through all of the ethnicities that are within me. Blew my mind. That, again, the base of that was the Tree of Life. And from the Tree of Life held the pentagram. This has took me right the way back to shamanism. But with energy work, I work with people and animals, and free sessions online, distant healing, a sacred Reiki box. I feel now part of everything. I don't feel separated from anything. It's strange. I feel part of everything. So quite often I don't need to use any tools, because I get intercepted. My speech gets intercepted. I think it did that earlier. My speech gets intercepted with what they need to say if it's a given time, and I just have to let that go through before I can carry on with what I want to say. But the power of energy, your own energy and your own thought, which it kind of propels the energy in your body. So if your thoughts are negative, it's propelling your negative thoughts throughout your body and energetic level and vibration, making you feel down. And the more like that you feel, the more down you'll feel. Put a little positive thought in your brain, get that rolling on a ball. That sends them good feelings through your body. Vibration is you vibrate at a higher level or a better level. How to have presence of being. It starts with being present with yourself, going inside and looking in. Who are you? Like, who are you really? Without anybody else. What past issues are you holding on to? So what things from the past are in the back of your mind, or do you feel you're affected by today? Life habits that you have that may have stemmed from there, or belief systems that you may have had or have that stem from past issues. What traumas have affected your life and mindset? What are your true wants and desires? If there was no limitations, no obstacle, what are your true wants and desires? Who or what do you need to forgive and let go of from the past or the present for you to move forward and grow? Who do you need to ask forgiveness from and give forgiveness to? How do you feel about your current circumstances, your current life? Truly feel. Is it where you want to be? Is there something missing? Is there something more? Are you happy? There are so many questions you could ask yourself. Then show yourself love. Thank your body. Be grateful for the life you have and the knowledge you've learned along your path. And acknowledge every part of your physical and energetic being. Being present with yourself shows you how to be more present with others. Self-care should be high on your agenda to-dos. Take time to check in with yourself. And that's as simple as stepping back, take a breath. Any situation, emotion, anger, fear, step back, ask the questions. mind, body and soul connection. The mind, body and soul connection is also known as the mind-body connection, and it is a theory that states that thoughts, feelings and beliefs can influence our biology for better or for worse. And like I just said before, if our mind starts thinking negative things, the body feels that negativity, and then if it keeps on, it's like a downward spiral. But just thinking positive thoughts, the body feels positive. Thoughts become feelings, become things. In other words, thoughts and emotions can affect our overall health and vice versa. Practices such as meditation, qigong, etc. are great ways to bring you into a state of calm or stillness, allowing the mind and body to rest, breathe, and just be. And again, that's take a step back. Even if that's not physically taking a step back, mentally take a step back from the situation that's got you in a state. Take that breath and then ask those questions. What is this? How is it affecting me? How can I deal with this? Is it my problem? Whatever it may be. When we have presence of mind and presence of being, we are aware of our thoughts and how they make us feel. We are aware of our actions and how they make us and others feel. We are consciously present in our daily lives and with those we interact with. We are conscious, present beings taking in life on our journey, moment by moment in awareness. My guides have just given me the words cause and effect. So when you're living consciously, you are aware of anything you may cause or affect by your words or deeds. Thank you. The importance of balance in the breath. Deep breathing sends a message to the brain to relax, which in turn tells the body to decrease the stress responses. In short, breathing retains our nervous system's response to triggers and allows us to step back so we can proceed with positivity. And this is a physical fact. You take that breath, it slows down and it calms the system. Breathing is the most important way our body regulates our nervous system and thusly our health. What did the Buddha say about the breath? In the sutra, Buddha teaches that the first step in transforming our suffering, fear, anxiety, and unsettled mind is to pay attention to the breath, bringing full awareness to the breath and noticing as it comes into the nostrils and as it flows out of the nostrils. The breath helps bring you back to present moment, and by focusing on that breath, it brings about a sense of calm and balance in the mind and body. How culture affects healing. How does culture affect healing? Cultural, traditional, and religion can all have an effect on how we think about self-healing, using our own thoughts and energy. The influence of culture on health is vast. It affects perceptions of health, illness, and death, beliefs about causes of disease, approaches to health promotion, how illness and pain are experienced and expressed, where patients seek help, and the types of treatment patients prefer. And if you just think about all the different types of religion or even some spiritual groups, they have their own beliefs and traditions around health. Jehovah's Witness won't accept someone else's blood. That's a detriment to health. But they believe it's not pure if you have someone else's. So there's a lot of different views. And the beautiful thing about things like Reiki, Qigong, shamanism, religion isn't an issue. You can be any religion to practice these energy works, really. In shamanism, they're like accepting of all religion, because all living things matter. And as long as you are a good person, have a good soul and a good heart, and do good deeds, that's all that matters. all that matters. Conscious living. Living consciously means being intentional with your words, actions, habits, everything. You don't act for the sake of acting, but you do it with intention. That is conscious living. Through the present moment, you have access to the power of life itself. Eckhart Tolle. Be present with yourself.